Good afternoon. It's Michael, Sally and Kate. We're at our first broadcast of the new year. A very happy new year to everybody and hope you had a great break over the Christmas where possible. Today we're going to talk a little bit about motivation, personal motivation. As we hit into a new year, it's very often the case that we try to have a new beginning and resolutions and reflect back on last year. But actually the thought that we've had over the last couple of days and been talking about at work is, what if that isn't the case for you? What if you've come into this year and you just don't have the same level of energy that you normally have? What if you've come into this year and you don't feel that oomph, that sense of motivation that's normally there for you? So we got talking about that and we want to share some thoughts and ideas with you. So I'm going to hand over to Kate, who's got a really great way of looking at this idea that people have a sort of block in terms of motivation. So over to you, Kate.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Just listening to you introduce that makes me realize how complicated motivation is. And I think, we have lots of books and seminars and talks about motivation, some of those techniques that people will be really familiar with, like goal setting and visioning. But like you say, sometimes that just doesn't work, does it? And I think that is quite an interesting indication that there's something deeper going on, maybe some incongruence that we're not yet aware of. And so we can't really change our behavior if we're not aware of what's really going on. So one of the nice things that I've come across, which is linked to a mindfulness practice, is to just think about actually what is happening for you in the moment. And there's a lovely acronym called RAIN, which reminds us of how we might do this. So the first step is just to recognize what you are feeling, what you're going through, what the thoughts and emotions are that are coming up for you, and start to think about, being with that and noticing what's going on, what's coming to your mind, and allowing that. So the A stands for allow. And then we can start to investigate what might be behind that. So the I is about investigating with kindness, is the advice here. So just to be curious and think about, how is this feeling for me? What's it telling me about what's going on for me? And then the final part of this is N, which is about nurturing yourself. So this is this part of the mindfulness, which is about being kind to yourself, rather than beating yourself up because you don't feel motivated or because you're not experiencing things as you want to, but actually just being with that and accepting that that's where you are right now. And it can give you quite a few insights into what could be really happening for you at the moment. So I think that's been quite helpful. And we were talking about this last week, weren't we? And we spoke to you, Sal. So maybe you can tell us how you got on with using that approach.
Yes, it was really helpful that Kate shared the RAIN acronym with me, and I went away. You will all know that I'm somebody who much prefers to be doing than being. So the thought of taking the time to actually be with that emotion, and particularly when I was really struggling with my motivation last week, but spending the time to reflect and think about, well, why is this happening to me? I have to say that I struggled with that. My preference is to want to be doing, but I was struggling with my goal setting and my vision for 2021, and that's just not like me. But what I did find that was particularly helpful, having shared that with both of you, was just to take a small step. I think when you said there about the importance of nurturing, I realized that it was really important not to be giving myself a hard time over the fact that I wasn't doing the things that I would normally do at this time of year, and just to be comfortable with that for a few days. I spent time looking back over the last year and thinking, well, it's not surprising actually that our motivation is dipping at the moment. We're tired. It's been a long year. It's been a different year. It's been a hard year for many people. And so maybe we just need to recognize that we need to rest when we can. So what I decided to do, having given some thought to that, is actually just to do something. To get up to get dressed, to do a small thing. I realized I was tired. I needed to do more exercise. I needed to have more fresh air. I needed to really be thinking about my nutrition, but just take a small step and do something different. Started to really, bring about a little bit of change, a little bit of disruption, and to really help me think that actually I could move forward. For me, structure was important. Actually coming back to work this week and reaching out and talking to people has also been really helpful. And I think sometimes we forget the importance of social support, the ability to be able to reach out to friends and say, this is how I'm feeling, and then not to have any judgment back, not to have people collude with you in that demotivation, but have people question and encourage you as you did, to really reflect on how you're feeling. And that was hugely helpful in terms of helping me with my motivation this week. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way of putting it, isn't it? That role that friends play as to whether it's a judgment role and therefore you're less likely to share with them, or whether it's a colluding role, in which case it just reinforces the behavior you're trying not to have.
Right.
Having those supportive friends and critical in the right way friends is really, really important. And actually may not be friends. They may be a professional coach, of course, that you're using. They may be somebody who has a slightly different relationship with you than your best mate, who might well collude with you or might tot at you and tell you, for God's sake, just get on with it. So that's a really interesting way to finish this session. We're going to wrap up there. So that's two very interesting ideas. This idea of RAIN and allowing and accepting where you are, but also the idea of taking some action. And they do link in together, not beating yourself up over how you might be feeling today, and then taking some action, do something, I guess is the call. We're going to stop the video at this stage. We are going to do 2 videos this week, which is unusual, because we also want to examine where organizations are at the moment in the first week of January, but we're going to split it into 2 videos. So if you've enjoyed this, go watch the other. If you watch the other one first and you're now wondering what the hell am I talking about, hey, it's life. Have a great new year. We'll really look forward to doing lots more of these sessions with you all. Thanks very much.